Hi there. Hi. So, first podcast. It's snowing, which is lovely, so I can see just snow. It's not going to settle. It's just wet. Hey, but it's still good to snow. The ideas here might not settle. It's still good to snow. Still good to share them. So, this is my first official one, and I've been setting this up especially for a classic podcast thing, which is the box opening. Now, don't get worried. Those of you who love a box opening are going to be probably disappointed. Others won't be. It's a lovely bit of flashing. I quite like that twinkly. Oh, apologies for the sound if it's not that good. I've got a wonderful mic. It's not actually going through yet, but you know what? I need to get started because it's been a week setting up this podcasting thing. Scissors. We have scissors. So the point of this podcast is to talk about the emotional effect of buying some kit, the creative effect of buying some kit. It's perhaps a podcast that I thought I might be able to find, and I couldn't. I really couldn't find it. I found lots of wonderful stuff about this amazing camera, but it was a lot of money for me, and I'm just, really? Check. What actually is it doing? And that starts the technical learning curve. So there's plenty about the kit. It is about the kit, but I'm more interested in what does that do for me as a filmmaker? So here we have the beauty. Camera. You know what it is yet? Know what it is yet? Yes, you do. The wonderful FX3. Right, so it arrives in a box. Very nice. Easy to open. Oh my God. Smell the cardboard. It's delicious. And whoa. So, look at this. Ooh. We have instructions. There we go. Very nice. Interchangeable lens. I didn't check interchangeable lens. Anyway, let's carry on. So that folds out. More stuff folds out. This will all be good for my lovely wood burner here in the studio. What have we got? Let's open this one then. Oh my God, can't believe I got this camera. It's been quite a journey ever since it came out. Whoa, that's the one. So I remember years ago going, red's here. That's fine. I can retire. I'll stop as long as I can get a red when I finish. That's fine, because the digital world has made filmmaking possible again for everyone. Again? Not even again. It's made filmmaking possible for the first time ever. So, in this one we have nice battery chargers. Lovely. I've got one, but, that's all right. Oh, what do we have here? Now, this is the clever thing. This is going to be interesting, because my previous camera was the A7 III S, which has been absolutely fantastic, but it broke in the middle of filming. The audio input broke, and apparently quite a common fault. But I mean, it must be about 7-8 years old, and I couldn't get it fixed because it was a 2-week. At least, or 2 week, maybe more. I couldn't break that in filming, so I had to change how I was doing the sound. That's my excuse. Always an excuse as a solo filmmaker, as a no crew filmmaker. You need plenty of excuses for doing this game. But this one, look at this. This is what I almost bought, because you can get these for the A7 III. Slap it on. That must be a cover, yeah? Yeah, there we go. For all the electronic-y bits that can go direct onto your tape. Lovely. And then we've got XLR inputs. There they are. XLR inputs are great, Mike. So I'm worried about this hole not being big enough for my mic. Now, I may well... is it in reach? No, it's not in reach. Hang on. Yeah, sod's law. I've packed it away properly. Okay. So I don't think that's going to be quite big enough. But looking at it, I like the look of it. It could well reach. Okay, so that's your sound thing. And it creates a handle. I've already been told, oh, it's not too bad, by a colleague who also got one. So I now have a buddy in film with an FX3 as well. So that's great for swapping learning. Okay, yeah, a bit hard to hold as a holding thing, but you can get extensions. So there we go. Anything else in there? Nothing in there. Nothing in there. Oh, it's Christmas. That's just filling. Nothing in there. What's in here? Could this be it? The FX3. Ooh, empty. No, it's there. It's here. And there's something else too, right? Let's clear some cardboard. Ooh, heavier than I thought. I like that. Heavier. That's good. It's there. Oh my word. Huh? Oh, look at that. It's got a handle on it, which I didn't like the look of. I'm liking the feel of. Oh, that feels... It's a good weight. I kept hearing how it was so, lightweight and all that, but it's not for me compared to the A7 III's. It's feeling a lot better. Well, that probably it for my box opening. My literal box opening. What, you want me to go in it and take this cover off? I don't want to take this cover off at all. Doesn't look grey, actually, like you... oh, yes, it is. Yeah. So there we go. That's the business. Put that back on. Yeah, you all know how to use an FX3. I'll go to some brilliant podcasts. If I get to it, I will add links to what I'm doing here, so you can see some great tutorials and explanations about why this camera is such a beauty as a tool. But as I said, what I want to talk about is the emotional impact it's having on me. So the kit is important, but not just for the technology. This is a leap, a game changer, a breakthrough. This is a totally different thing. Because of 15 stops. It gives 15 stops in its native ISO, or ISO as I believe it should be called. Now I don't know, because people keep calling it ISO and saying it's International Standards Organization, but I also saw a very reputable thing. Again, if I ever get the link, I'll shove it on here. Talking about it's just ISO. They just made it up. But anyway, it is a standard of how sensitive is your film stop and then your chip. How sensitive is it to light? So if we keep looking down, it's my first one, and I've got the monitor just below it. So I keep looking down to check I'm in. Oh, do you want to go close? Check I'm in frame. Gosh, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I love Sony. I had the VX5000 High 8. That for me was a game changer. A level up. And it made it possible for me to run a business, pay my mortgage for 5 years or more, I think. Back in the 90s, 95 onwards. Yeah, fabulous. And this isn't going to pay my mortgage. Because luckily for me, it's paid off. Enables me to sit around being a hobbyist film director. Look at this, it's so beautiful. 15 stops. Emotionally, that means I can press the button and the dark shadows can be brought out in post. The lightness can be brought down in post, and without any grain. That's the trick, because you can do this already. You can mess about, but you're going to get grain here. In a film I shot on a Canon 500, Is that 3i or some T3i or T? Is that that's the planet hurtling, the aliens hurtling towards us? Anyway, that old camera, about 2006, 2007. In 2016, I made my first feature film of Everyone Back to Ours. That came out after my second one in a way, so it took so long to edit. But that camera, I did do a foot candle. I did a shot deliberately with a character's face 1 foot away. There's 1 foot away from a character's face from a candle. So to get the actual foot candles as a little joke or a test, did all right. Once you got the lovely neat grain dispensing thing on it, it worked fine. No, it didn't really work fine. It's of that sort of level where, well, I think you can get away with it, and let's just go and make the movie, and let's just go and make the frame. Now, emotionally, can't get away with that emotion anymore. Let's just get on and do it and make this film, and that's okay, Mel. You're being an artist, you're being a filmmaker, you are fulfilling your life's dream in that sense of what you always wanted to do, and the kit wasn't good enough when you're doing tape to tape, when you're doing 16mm and the expense of that and the difficulty of that. Super 8, which is still, come on, it's rubbish. Looks lovely, but anyway, maybe somebody will change my mind when I see a modern Super 8 camera, but I don't want the Kodak thing. This costs the same. This is Hollywood. This is Hollywood. This is what the Creator was made with. Famously, they were testing it for a B cam and decided to make the whole movie with it because it gave them the technical spec they needed, those 15 stops of light, so you can really play with stuff. But it's little, and it gave a purpose of the filming. It gave the kind of stuff I do. You're sort of intimate. It's just you and the crew. I'm sure they had hundreds of crew and some huge lenses on the front of this, because of course it's the lenses. I've got some all right lenses, but the 15 stops, incredible. You got to run it in base ISO, then it's a Netflix approved situation. So it is a Netflix approved camera. Not that that means a lot, because Netflix, if they want it, they'll take anything. But and if you made it well enough for a general audience, and that's what Netflix needs to be, a general audience. We're not a sophisticated viewership. Certainly in the UK, we will not put up with things because we're so used to the best television in the world that we watch the generations that we kind of, we won't look at other films. I kind of mean that, it's not Italian neo-realism. It's not even French New Wave, is it? Running around with 16mm cameras developed in the Second World War because they can. But, you get a different thing, obviously, with 16mm to the 8mm. It's a totally different resolution factor and reproducible. This is reproducible. This thing will blow up to a big screen. The Creator, great sci-fi movie, mixing in with lots of effects as well, and they use this beauty as the main camera throughout. The now a little technical thing, as far as I can understand, the base ISO. So you're running on 800, or it jumps to 12,800 ISO, which is huge, and people have been talking about neutral density filters. So I often go to about 2,500 ISO to sort of find what I'm looking for on the A7 III. But with here, you're going 800, and you really, I expect I'm going to have to find you stick to 800 or go to the 12,800. That gives you the best spec. That's where this sensor is representing all the colors with as least saturation as possible, but encompassing as much of the color range as possible. So ultimately you output to Rec 709, which is a smaller color range to what you can get with a log or S-log. And if you look at all the diagrams and other people's better technical descriptions than mine, if I recommend some, I'll put them on the link again below. But this is that thing that works. This is that thing that makes movies. It just makes proper movies. So emotionally, get back to that, Mal, the emotional feeling. Not that I'm a big on emotional, but the feeling is not big emotionally because of its purpose in cinema is kind of wrong. But more on that on other posts. Anyway, my feelings. This camera's been sat in the house for 2 weeks almost. I hope I haven't gone through some guarantee opening of check it's all there in the box, but it's taken a while to get used to it being near me. Because this gives me no excuse anymore. My films must not be rubbish now that I have this. I cannot blame. My microphone's lovely. I cannot blame the camera. I cannot blame the facilities. So where I do no crew, because I like to work alone with the people, the performers, whether they're actors, professional or non-actors, volunteers and people who fancy go, or friends, or people I've seen and know and think, yeah, this will be lovely. It's me and the performers. That's how I like to work. So this enables all of that because it's little, but there's no excuse because it's Hollywood. This is Hollywood level. This is a totally different level game changer. I expect the rest is the same. And I'm on a massive learning curve with color grading. Now I've moved off Premiere Pro and the Adobe tax every year down to the wonderful Resolve. Got the Pro one, and that's a learning curve as well. And now this is a learning curve. Or is it? It's kit, it's tech, it's camera. In a little while, I'll be used to where everything is. I'll set the menus up how I want it. Again, there's some great videos all about that. Very, very useful for filmmakers all over the place now. But it's the emotion, isn't it? It's the feeling. It's leveling up my understanding of everything I'm doing technically. So that goes up a level. But it's also, this is it, Mal. You want to make a movie, and when I make a movie with this, and it doesn't go anywhere, and nobody watches it, and it's all a bit of a, and I feel bad about myself and my whole life's choices, and all that thing you get as an artist, as a creator. When all that happens, I can't blame the camera. It's going to be awful. It's just going to be me and the world and my ambitions with filming. This beauty. So this was my box opening. This is my kind of idea. Now, I don't know if that would have helped me before I pushed the button and bought this. I don't know if it would have helped me. Would it have helped? I don't know. I'll just put it down here so we can still see it. Oh, what was in this little bag? Hang on. Don't be enamored. It's a battery. Thank you, Sony. You've given me a battery. Luckily, I've got a few others, but yeah, that's nice. And what's this? This looks like a lid. A sort of lid for the cold shoe or hot shoe, or maybe it's a cover for it. Anyway. Oh, and that beauty. You thought about sound one. Will that make a difference to the sound? Because what I'm hoping with the sound is I can take wireless mics into the camera, as well as I can record from my pointy one. So the pointy one on the camera enables me to know when I'm working with performers, I know this microphone. I've had it 30 odd years more. It's always been good. It was better than the Sennheisers. I was lucky enough to working with a company who had a studio, and the guy there, the engineer, Keith Hurd, sourced that for me. He said, no, this is better. So I was complaining about the Sennheisers that I was using. So hissy, so toppy. It's like, God, it's super sensitive. I can't do anything with this. It's really awful. And he found this lovely Bayer MCE 82, is it, I believe? Wonderful, wonderful mic. So clean, so natural sounding, super pointy, hypercardioid. I know what it sounds like. I almost don't have to I don't use headphones a lot of the time, as you'll hear if, well, that's a confession I shouldn't have made. But anyway, hey, this last movie, the sound thing broke. All my things, there's a few scenes where it's like, what shall I do? How do I do it? Anyway, wireless ones can either go in or just stay on their unit, because you get the little units now, the little Rode units that will do that, and record onto the box. And then also I can have a really good quality mic that I know hypercardioid. So I'm going to know what I'm getting between the different mics on the scene as people move around. So I can adjust to that. because I don't have a boom operator, which is a marvelous job, and very difficult. Very difficult, because like you got to move in time to know the script and all. It's just super difficult when improvising, bordering on impossible. So I like to do improvising because I'm not very good at writing dialogue. There you go, another confession as to how these things emerge. But I am a filmmaker. I do what I want to do. I'm an experimental movie director, so that the whole name of this in itself is an excuse for sort of bad practice. But I don't like the good practice. I love the clean, I love the lovely technology, the imagery, the sound, the world that a filmmaker creates. And in the past, you see, you needed it. It was definitely needed for the expertise. The expertise to choose a film stock and know the exposure ranges that you can get away with on this scene in this place with that sun moving and these lamps that we've got. That's extremely detailed, and it takes a focused career to get good at doing that. Similarly with sound and the sound engineering and running whatever the latest was. It's a focused career to understand what you're doing with that and then mixing it afterwards. But with digital, come on. There's definitely some focused career. I'm not against crew. I'm not against expertise. And I'm very poor in relation to those absolute professionals. But I think you can get away with it in the mix. And a lot of the time, I'm editing, I think, well, one day, if needed, I could get somebody in and get this better. And I've tried that. I brought in sound engineers to check. The ears are old. I'm down to about 11, 12K maximum. Now kilohertz in terms of like what I can hear, just as being old. So there's a bit of an issue there. My audio setup is not the best. I use off a couple of cinema speakers at the BFI. We're giving away as cinema speakers for setting up an independent cinema that I did a little pop-up thing. So I have a set of those, and that they sent 2 by mistake or something, so great for me. But, you know, you could do better, and a studio engineer, there's nothing better than those ears, and that's what they can hear, and the compressions and the reverbs that they're doing. But you can fix it in the mix. Come on. Yes, we can. I do mono as well. I look forward to doing stereo when I get a better setup. I have plugged in a boom bar to try and get used to the bass that's there in sound. But what I'm saying about all of this is this digital ability in the 21st century allows us to be a solo filmmaker. It allows us to be a solo artist, like a novelist, a composer, a painter, a poet. All of those kind of things you can do by yourself, and you can make a movie by yourself. Now, obviously, you can make an art film. You can use film as art. When I did my first degree, that was all what it was about. You know, post-structuralism and tearing it apart, painting onto the film, and developing your own film, and what was called the Russian tank, because they had a huge thing you could sort of develop and reel in your 16mm and use that as your stock bath and develop it and all that. Had one of those for a while, the Russian tank. Yeah, but this is, you know, you can fix that. You can add that. You can add that as filters if you want that. It's weird, this Super 8 thing. I must dig out some Super 8 and actually project it. Because what's this big sprocket they all have? Which side is it on? It's this side, isn't it? They all have like a big sprocket. And I'm thinking, I don't remember projecting at school to audiences of friends and seeing a big sprocket by the side. It's a completely made up effect of Super 8. But I could be wrong. I remember it was a screen. I mean, it would jitter. That's the thing. Beautiful grain, lovely grain, and a sort of jitteriness, you know, and the sound of the projector in the room. Because I didn't have a projector. It's going to project from way back where the projector's going to be silent. So you're very much an organic thing. And then you probably got, I used to have a cassette deck to play the audio. Go, sync up, project, beautiful. You know, all really good. Yeah, I don't remember that big sprocket in the so-called effect of what so-called the look of Super 8. But the grain, yeah. You can make the grain. To make it, you just film it and then layer it over the top. Interesting point. I really love the latest Bob Dylan film. I sat quite close because I put the seats and I wanted to get in close. God, it was beautiful. Seeing the grain and seeing across the screen from close and seeing what the grain and the film was doing in a different light. And I was so into a color grading kind of thing at the time of watching it as well. So super sensitive to that. The film's great. Really enjoyed it for the Dylan and the performance and the history. The music, great performance on the music. So the grain, and apparently then I looked it up, and they had tested it very well. We can test on our hobbyist equipment the price of a decent fishing rod to coin a hobby, the price of a bike if that's your hobby. This is hobbyist level Hollywood. So it kind of, they chose the film stocks. They have it and go, these are your true professionals, and the lenses and the cameras. Let's film it. And as I understand it, they digitized it, did it on digital, then filmed that, put it onto telecine, converted into film, and then redigitized it. So they got real grain off the. Or was it the other way around? No, they didn't film. No way did they film with film cameras. And the noise of a film camera whirring round on the set. Just forget it. Just forget it. Everything today is so much easier. This is what every filmmaker in the history of the modern cinema since 1892, is it? The first film shot just down the motorway from me, shot in Leeds. 1892, 1893, ahead of the Lumiere brothers. You can see all about that in a great movie documentary that is available and viewable. So I'll put a link to that down there. The interesting hidden history of where the modern cinema came from. So in all of that history, we haven't had what we have now. So Robert Bresson, with his non-performing characters, non-emotional stuff. He had a wonderful cinematographer to do all the work. Bergman, all his psychodrama. Wonderful camera person to do their work. Sven Nykvist, was it? I forget who the Bresson one was. Loads of different people, and this is why you still get that idea that movie making is collaborative. Yeah, I get it. We got to support the industry. It ain't collaborative. You can do it yourself. Then what do you say movie making is? That's what I'm about with this whole podcast thing, and the title of experimental movie director. So it's not doing film as art and all that kind of thing. This is about making a movie, but you can make it yourself on your own. I mean, with performers. For me, it's a drama. It's a movie. It's meant to be what a movie would be. That's why I chose the word movie, not a film. But it's a movie in that understanding of your Hollywood mainstream thing. But they can be experimental because there's so much to do now that we have this digital. There's just a lot to do. There's a lot to figure out. On the recent one over the summer, my main thing was, well, that's cinema. This is different. You couldn't write this scene. You wouldn't write it. And say couldn't's a bit strong because writers are, they're amazing. But, go and write a book. Go and write a novel. Get off our cinema art. Cinema in the room with a camera capturing the actual real world around you. And that's what this 15 stops enables you to do. You can capture any real world space around you. You don't need to bring in the lamps. You can do it with this. It's that. What does that mean? What does that mean for a person when they know they're being recorded and captured? Well, we all do it now, so we all know what it means. I'm doing it here. We know what it means to our identity, to our projection of ourselves. But that's cinema, the reflective gaze back at you that you're aware of. So the performers are aware of all that. The audience are aware of it. The audience are aware of what's happening there as well. There's no pretense. It's open and honest. Whereas you go to Hollywood as a generic term for mainstream or even classic cinema to that extent. But they hide what they're doing. That's cinema with the hundreds of people and the professional crew, and cinema is a collaborative process. Yeah, because you're hiding everything. You're hiding the means of production. I'm not a Marxist. Marx didn't care for art. He missed it out. So, everything's missing, especially in today's age where all we have is art left to express and be ourselves, because we need universal basic income. We're getting energy off nuclear. Can you believe nuclear's back? Solar, wind. The need for work in industry is less. What we have a need for is peace. We have a need for peace and exchange. And there's nothing better than expression and creation. So Marx didn't get that idea of what an artist is, because an artist can be an entrepreneur, has to be, even with the film business especially. It's a mix, but for all artists there's an entrepreneurial side to our activities and reflections. So that collaborative aspect of cinema production is about hiding the means of production. If you hide the means of production, you are not making escapism, as one old lecturer used to say, but it's escape to. What are they escaping to? They're escaping to your vision of the world. They're not escaping from, they're escaping to. You are presenting a view of the world, and you're hiding the means of the production of that view of the world. So you are instantly lying. Whereas I kind of believe that there's something in the work I do, there's something in the way of a no crew that doesn't hide, that people are allowed to be in the room, and that cinema can be something else that isn't drama, it's not theatre, it's not literature. See, at the moment, writers are great, but they've made cinema into a delivery mechanism for literature. And that's very different, as we'll talk at different times about the fictional mind. Cinema presents fictional mind very differently. In a book, you got pages. You can do pages of what a character is thinking. You don't have that. You have the face, this great big looming face to see what I'm thinking. And we have eye movements, which is I won't say it's my biggie actually, but that's what I did my PhD on, the eye movements, the reveal thinking. And that's all been cut out because in movies you want to stare and chop out the means of production, cut, all of that kind of thing to create the continuity of the space around us. And we wanted continuity of the space around us because that came from theatre, because actors would look and then you'd have to see a shot of what they're looking at, and then they would still be on the stage because that's all that was known about. They're still on the stage because that's theatre. So there's a whole bunch of stuff there that just to me, is all about this game. It's all about this. That this tool in my hands, for the price of a fishing rod, for the price of a road touring bicycle, for the price of a really good chess set, possibly, I don't know, I'm thinking about other hobbies. Well, what do people do for hobbies? It's a pastime. It's a glorious pastime. It's money that you can kind of reach. It was a push, but I got it eventually. Yeah. So we're in that sort of thing where you don't need the hundreds of people. Then you don't need the big collaboration that all adds up to money. Because finally, I'll just takes a look at this. We'll be heading off soon. A final comment. And I'll probably say all this again next time. But the final comment, if you had £50,000, would you spend it making a film? We all want investors. Say, a typical range like 3 to 5 million that you look for investors, because you need to spend a good whack on marketing in order to get that return. So it's a very capitalist system. It's a very Western system, free market economy, kind of, not really, sort of idea of how a film is made. So you need to be spending a certain amount that makes sense to that in order to get that. So a 50,000 investment is really like neither here nor there. You're not going to make any money back because you're not spending enough on marketing to make that. You couldn't do that in a business really and get back. It's an odd amount. Unless it's very specific, of course. If it's very specific in a business, you would get that amounts, you're going to do this with it and you'll get back. Digital distribution, is there anything specific about what you're going to back, what you're going to get back? 92% of movies don't make the money back for the investors. Don't tell investors or they'll stop completely. But that's why you have to scale up to do the big thing that's going to have the big hit in theatres for the first weekend. It's all about the first weekend, I believe, still. But there's a lovely long tail, and there's a long tail for the likes of my movies, and people can just find them. The snow can fall. It's good while it's falling. It might not settle and be around in a cultural sense for all of us, but it's still good to snow. And it's still good to have that moment and express yourself. And that's what this is about. It's beautiful. Beautiful piece of kit. So there we go, yeah. There's a box opening for you, isn't there? That's a box. What's that you can see in the reflection? Oh, it's the screen of the thingy coming up. Why is this? Oh, no. I'll look closer. It's nice, isn't it? What is that? Not sure what on earth that is. It's reflecting. Ah, is it the monitor? It's my little monitor, isn't it? Yeah, lovely. Of course it is. Look at that. I'm even enjoying. In fact, you can make a film just of the reflections in this brand new, shiny FX3 from Sony, the wonderful Japanese. Thank you, Sony. And thank you for watching. So that was the podcast I was looking for. And when this arrived, I got to do a podcast. I got to do a box opening. I want to talk about how a camera can change your artistry. So I may well do other box openings. I don't buy a lot of kit. But when it really impacts on how a filmmaker can operate and feel, that's really important. So the big feeling, the internal change for me, I mean, yes, there's technical opportunities that arise, but the internal changes, I've got no excuse. Put up, shut up, woulda, shoulda, coulda, do whatever. Stop talking about it, just do it. Show, not tell. Spent many years blooming lecturing and educating. It's just good to show, not even talk about it. I'm sort of, why am I doing this then? I do want to talk about it. I think it's just part of developing that blooming digital audience for anything I make. But it's also just capture what I'm on about. Because I like to talk about this. I like to encourage filmmakers to do the same thing, to understand film as a new art form. And I think it's been captured by these hiding collaborative idea, the industrial complex, the many millions you need to spend to make a movie. But that's economics of just getting returns on certain levels of investment. If you had 50 grand, would you spend it on the movie? I wouldn't. I'd get a new car. I'd put the rest into ISAs for the grandkids. Oh, a new roof to the house before that goes. I'm not going to spend it making a movie. No way. And nor would you. Bye-bye. Talk soon, eh? Talk soon.